Hello, my name is Adam Pantel. Pleased to meet you. I'm smiling, but I am not truly happy. I am in a situation that is not getting better, and I'm asking for your help. My water is off, was shut off. Next, the electricity will be shut off, and then my home will be taken away from me. I'm in charge of this little dog right there. His name is Max. I saved Max from death 6 years ago from a shelter. He was going to be murdered the Friday after Thanksgiving. My dad needed my dad thought it'd be nice to have a dog. So you don't see my dad here because my dad died about 3 months ago after 11 months of torture and hell in a hospital. And through all that time, I was taking care of his dog and his house that we lived at together for 8 years. My dad is a disabled war veteran. His name is Barry Pantel. Barry Pantel. He was injured at maybe 20 years old in the Navy during the Korean War. And he still managed to have 7 kids, and 5 lived at birth, and what remains is myself, my brother, and another brother, and a few grandkids of his. Well, my dad is dead because the hospital refused to resuscitate him when I demanded that they do resuscitate him. That's what he wanted. He wanted to live. He loved life. He loved to make people happy. And they silenced him after $2 million worth of doctor bills and many mistakes they made. They murdered him to hide the evidence of their malpractice and wrongful death. And in doing that, they took away my dad, my father, my best friend, and my reason for existence is because my dad was such a good man, and he was selfless and made great sacrifices for me. My mortgage in his house is paid for by my father. And when they murdered him, they silenced his pension. But they sure got their money for the doctor bills. My dad was suffering from hypochondria, where he was only happiest when he was being treated by a doctor. And he would release his consciousness when being treated. Like when you get a massage, you just lie down and relax. Close your eyes and just let the kneading begin. And he really took it to an extreme. So they determined that he was not as well as he was because they didn't seem to care about mental illness when treating for physical problems. My father received a trach in the throat. They put a hole in his throat and stuck a tube down his throat, making him silent to speak. they only put that hole down his throat because he had a tube going down his throat, and they thought they needed to move it to in his throat because it would be better for his vocal cords in the long run. That was done, but they needed my signature to do it. They also put a feeding tube in his stomach because they were feeding him through a nose tube. And that was done with my written permission. He needed a blood transfusion because he caught 3 different bugs in the hospital from faulty washing hands and faulty sterile conditions. That required my signature. Everything required my signature to have a treatment for him. Any treatment needed my signature or a verbal authorization over the phone with 2 witnesses on the hospital side hearing it. Well, when they refused resuscitation for my dad, because he did die, they killed him, and they didn't require my authorization to withhold treatment to him. They let him die. They didn't ask my permission for that. They need to pay for that. They need to be punished. The rules need to be changed. Before they did nothing and let him die, I told them I want them to resuscitate if anything happens to my father. And he said, "Oh, no, we can't do that. What if it's